All right, we're going to try this one more time without the 5-minute dance music intro. Can you guys hear me okay now? Woohoo! All right, then let's start this over. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Online Championship Series Draft. I am your host, Chris Gogolin. Now that I have my microphone working properly, you guys can actually hear what I'm saying. Welcome, good evening. Let's take a quick peek here. These are our top 16 qualifiers. Congratulations to all of them. They all achieved something that many of us tried but did not pull off this year. Um, Looking at the overall standings here, Paul Myers will have the first pick coming up here in just a minute, followed then by Justin Desai, Adam Fletcher, Connor Britton, Drew Lichtenstein, Jared Napolitano, Bastian Winkelhaus, Brad Kipple, Brian Fred, Steve Baroni, Nick Reich, Greg Shaw, Justin Branch, Joe Olson, and Tom Damon, and then down here is Eric Hunter. Last but certainly not least. All these players had tremendous months throughout the year, going at least 11-1 to qualify, almost with that exception. I know Brian Fred did qualify 10-2 one month, but then went 11-1 the following month, and his bye actually got passed down. So, just a minute here, we'll have our first pick, and we'll get things started off. Looks like actually we have half of you guys in the chat. So I don't need to go to the list for the first one. So, all right. Paul Myers, you are on the clock. Everyone had been angling. Brian Fred called him out on Wednesday night during the Hollow Theater show. But Paul Myers is going to make his choice himself. He sent me a list. I know who he intended to pick. Did he change that pick? Make your pick, Paul. Where is it? You want me to read your pick? Are you making it in the chat? What are we doing here? Yeah, Paul selects Nick Reich as his first pick. Not a lot of surprise with that pick. I'm sure a lot of people were disappointed. They were really hoping for the Brian Fred matchup. But as we go to our regular statistician here, some postings from Echo Base Trooper. Record in games between qualifiers this year. Nick Reich had the lowest record at 2-8, so uncertainly he was going to be a popular pick. He showed up at the top of many people's lists, and I think this is probably the reason why. While all these players had certainly great months, some of them, looking at their record against other people in the field, some of them did a lot better than others. You got some 11-3s, 13-4, pretty impressive, records. 8-8s, 500. That's a good coin toss there. But then you look at some people down here who did have losing records, and Nick did have the lowest win percentage. So I certainly expected that he would be near the top of the picks, and he is the first pick. So we can go to our little bracket here. We can pencil in. Somebody's probably already doing it. It might be locked. I don't know if it'll let me do it. All right. Well, Joe can update this later. All right. So we got Paul Myers off the board, and he picked Nick Reich. Nick is off the board as well. Moving on to our second choice, number 2 seed, Justin Desai, who'll be over here on the other half of the bracket. Justin, are you ready to make your pick? Give me like 30 seconds. Okay. You tell me when you're ready. I'll cue the sound effect. You can make your pick. There we go. Yep, see, you figured Joe or somebody else is in the bracket. Yeah. Joe's in it right now, updating as he goes. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for doing this, Joe. Thank you for keeping the overall standings each year. If you guys also noticed that he just adds new tabs each year, so you can go back and look at previous years' historical standings. Can you bring me? I'm going to bring the stat sheet back up. There you go. I'll leave it on this here for you. Looks like there's about a 20-second delay between the video stream and the Twitch feed, so. Everybody angling for Justin to pick Steve Baroni, his longtime friend and teammate for the last 20 plus years. All right. We have our pick. Justin Desai selects Tom Damon with the second overall pick in the draft. As we saw here, Tom also has one of the lower records. Tom, kind of went out crazy the first month, qualified right away. I think he only played maybe a month or two after that. We can check out the actual standings. Tom's down here. So Tom qualified early and then just kind of limped through for a couple months, playing some games, and then kind of taken the last 2 or 3 months off. So certainly a good strategic choice by Justin to make that pick there. Might catch him with some rust, or maybe he had some good decks early on in the year, and the meta has shifted and evolved over the last 5-6 months. We certainly have seen some things change. So that's a wise choice by Justin. That will move us on to our number 3 pick. Adam, are you in the chat? We'll see if Adam is live to make his selection. Otherwise, I will go look and see if Adam sent me lists anywhere. I don't think Adam sent me any lists. But I could be mistaken. Adam is there. All right. Adam, you are on the clock. Do you know who you plan on picking? All of these statistics you've had, you created yourself, so you should have them all in front of you to know exactly what's going on. All right, Adam has made his selection, and it will be Brad Kipple. Brad had an 8-8 record, so split games here. And did Brad and... Nope, they did not play. So they both of them played quite a few games here. Adam had 18 games against the top. Brad had 16 games against the top, but they did not overlap and play each other this year. So we'll go ahead and pencil Echo Base and B Kipple in there. And that will move us along to our number 4 seed, Stubley. And I believe I just saw Connor in the chat there. Connor did send me a list, but we'll see if he wants to switch things up too based on how things have gone so far. The 4 people on Connor's list, he sent me his top 4. The top 3 have already been selected. So now the question is, will he mix things up? Will he change things up based on what's happened here tonight, or will he stick with the list and go with his 4th pick? We're told he's got the pick. It's in. He will stick with his list, and he will choose Brian Fred, the man we saw on Holo Theater last week. Their special guest, Brian Fred, had one of the higher records, 11-3 against the top qualifiers. Also had would have had a pretty strong overall standing, but I believe he took the last month off as well. He was right here, but he did not play any games the month of August. So 20, 25, 24 points would have gotten him up to about 210, which would have gotten him right up in here to the 2nd or 3rd pick. Certainly looking at his overall record, I think he could have got that. I don't think he could have caught Paul for the first pick, but he certainly could have got the second pick, possibly, or at least second or third. But Brian chose to take August off, and we'll see how he bounces back rolling into September. All right, we're going to roll right along here to our fifth pick overall, and that would be Mr. Drew. And Drew is in the chat. They could have tied if B-Fred went 12-0. Yeah, I don't think B-Fred would have wanted the pressure of trying to go 12-0 just so he could then tie and then pick Paul Myers. Maybe it would have been worth it, but, you know, hopefully they are on the same side of the bracket, so we could see a top four matchup between Paul and Brian Fred. But getting some Slack messages here. What we got going on? Apparently Mike Kessling is a fan of me using the NFL draft sound effect. I was gonna try and I was thinking about having the commissioner pop up and say with the next pick, but I didn't want to have to deal with copyright issues. But a simple sound chime you can kind of get away with a little bit. So, okay. Let's see. All right. Looks like Drew has made his pick. And it will be Jared Napolitano. Jared, another one of the 8 and 8s. Drew went 8 and 12 against each other. Did they play each other? Let's take a quick look. Jared, they played one time. And Jared, looks like Jared lost. Yeah, looks like Jared lost that game. So Drew's gonna take a matchup that possibly favored him in the past. No, the commissioner's put Scott's face superimposed. Yeah, I didn't want to get too crazy there. Oh, wait a second. I gotta refresh now. Looks like something just crashed in my Twitch channel. Hopefully it wasn't Twitch in general for everybody. All right, and now that Jared is off the board, he was number 6. He now becomes the 12 seed. This is going to move Bastion up. Bastion's going to move up a spot. He will now be the 6th seed. And Bastion did send me a list. Let me just go find his lists, figure out which way he sent it. Okay. All right, good. Twitch refreshed. Looks like we're back online. Okay, so Mr. Bastion Winklehouse. The first person on his list was Tom Damon. Tom has already been selected, but number 2 is still available. So his second choice Justin Branch, aka Silver Glen. I'm sure it was more of just a convenience factor with the time zones that Bastion chose to play Justin. Maybe he thought if he can't play Justin Desai, he'll take Justin Branch. One Justin's as good as the next, right? That will certainly be an interesting matchup. And now that we've taken them off the board, that will bring us to our number 7 seed, which is now Steve Baroni, as some people ahead of him have gotten selected. So now in the 7 seed, Justin and Steve are in the same bracket. That is a good observation there, Joe Olson. And now the question is who they will pick. Steve selects Greg Shaw. Perhaps they will duel it out with legend versus legend. Uh, and then for our final, our 8 seed, that will be Joe Olson taking on his teammate Eric Hunter in the final matchup. Winner of that to take on the Paul Myers Nick Reich winner. So there is your bracket. There is your top 16. They are all set. We'll go over real quick. Oops. The current format and draft info. So the draft has been selected. The first round of games begin Thursday, October 1st, and last for 2 weeks through Wednesday, October 14th. Higher seed chooses their side, just as it normally happens in match play. It is a match. When you have determined your time against your opponent, please post in this thread. We will try and get the games posted here and get coverage from the Twitch team. Try and stream as many of these games as possible, as we've done in years past. Please, when you are scheduling a match, try to look at where the other games are, and if possible, at least avoid starting at the exact same time. Even if you just slide it back a half hour, so that way we can have coverage and shift some things around. It is the current meta. You are allowed to change decks between rounds. You're not locked in. You don't have to submit deck lists. The important thing here is if new cards are released, they are not legal until the current round ends. I don't know what Design's exact timeline is for releasing new stuff. If it's coming out the end of October, beginning of November, maybe it'll be a Christmas present. I don't know. I know they've been playtesting some stuff for a while, but I don't know what their exact plan is. So we'll get at least the first round in the current meta, possibly the second round, and then we'll get to our final 4 and our finals here. Slightly shorter timelines, but then again, there's less people playing, and we should have this all wrapped up before Thanksgiving for most of our American players. For our European players, they don't care about Thanksgiving, but you'll be well ahead of the holidays. You'll have plenty of time to do your holiday shopping. Also have plenty of time to get your Corona Cup games in, or whatever you got going on, and get everything all done and over with before any other future online tournaments. Let's see what we got going on with chat. Let me pull this over here so I can actually read what's going on. Deck list required. No deck lists. You do not need to post deck lists. Erratas, yes. Erratas would obviously be immediate. Nothing I can do about errata. If they release an errata, they change the jump coding, so the game can only be enforced the way it's enforced. Can't do anything about that. But new cards, I can say, don't play them until you finish the round. That's probably always a wise thing not to play new cards right away anyway, because half the time there's little glitches in them and they don't work always as intended. So there we go with that. Unless we lock in decks. Nope, we're not locking in decks. Let's just load up a deck and play. No deck lists. Bastion changed a card between a reload. Yes, well. I won't pick you and Steve this time, so you have a better chance. Left side of the bracket compared to the right side. Look at the overall bracket. Justin, Shaw, Steve, Bastion, Justin, Brad, and Adam have been playing very well online. Tom's a great player. Who knows what Tom's going to show up and bring? So left side, certainly. I mean, all the players in this field are very strong players. Let's not discredit anybody for that. They all did what 70 other people couldn't do, which was, put up a strong enough performance throughout the course of these 7 months to qualify. But yes, I mean, you've got, 2 Hall of Famers and 5 World Championships over here, a couple of MPC titles, a Continentals title. Silver Glen's also been in the finals previously, as compared to the left side that has no Hall of Famers and no World Championships. But again, this could be the stepping stone for a lot of these guys. This could be that big major tournament win that catapults them right into being a household name. Yes, yes. Yeah, right side over here. Stage right, stage left. um, but yes, so there's the format. If you have any rules questions or anything comes up, please go ahead and PM me directly. But you've got about 10 days to strategize. Want to make sure we did this early enough that everybody has some time to prepare, figure out, do a little research, deck analysis, whatever whatever your process is. Um, and again, if anything happens, anything breaks, we'll deal with it as that comes up. But thank you guys all very much for tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for playing this year in the OCS. This is our third year. We still had tremendous numbers. Um, I will start a feedback thread in just a minute here, and we can go. You guys can point out anything that you might have. Let me see if I actually have the foils handy. I don't think I have them down here. I apologize. I should have had the final seventh month and the playoff foil, but I do not have those handy right here. Um, but yeah, we'll get some feedback, figure out what changes we can make for year four. Hopefully, we will actually be allowed to play in public in 2021, and then everything won't be so focused on Gem. But I think this has still been a good year for Star Wars overall, and we'll see what else is going on. But in the meantime, everybody stay safe out there. Post your matchups. We'll have plenty of live stream coverage for you. We'll get the games moved over to YouTube for those of you who can't watch. And look forward to a great tournament. Best of luck to everybody. And I'm going to wrap it up for tonight.